Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Lifeline Connect by Deborah Rise Movement, or DRM. Our calling at DRM is to give voice to the voiceless, to advocate for the broken, and to rescue the abused. You can find out more about us on www.deborahrise.org. The helpline number and also the link to our WhatsApp group will be posted soon in our chat group. Please do check and note down. The two lockdowns and the continuing work from home trend for the past 2 years has brought in a lot of psychological and emotional stress in our lives for adults and children alike. As a countermeasure, various experts have suggested meditation. However, most of us, including me, probably resorted to drinking coffee, especially Dalgona coffee. Personally, when I visualize meditation, I see a monk or a sadhu sitting with a string of beads or chanting Om. But how do we as Christians meditate, that too the right way? To enlighten us on this, we have with us today Dr. Nityanandan John Paul. After receiving his doctorate in chemical engineering from TEH University of Veszprém in Hungary, Dr. Paul has worked as a scientist for 20 years. He worked as a special engineer in the Middle East, where he conducted Bible studies for international groups who later on went on to establish full-fledged churches for themselves. His studies have been published in many Indian and foreign languages. After his calling to teach the Bible, Dr. Paul and his wife have been actively involved in rural and child evangelism and women's ministries. Dr. Paul has authored several books which are available at the Amazon Kindle store. Without further ado, let us welcome Dr. Paul to teach us what the Bible says about meditation and also probably how to put our cup of coffee to good use. Over to Dr. Paul.
Hello, friends. Nice to join you on this Zoom meeting. Look audacious when you see the title, God with a cup of coffee. I'm not going to drink a cup of coffee with God. We're going to talk about God with a cup of coffee. Of course, I can't sell you coffee on Zoom. Now, let us see the changing reality of life. After my retirement 20 years ago, I moved into a small village, and it's not now. But I was not free after that, but became busier than before, traveling to many countries to teach the engineers in oil companies of changing techniques, materials, and problems. I was 84, and still the American organization was happy to keep me on assignments, possibly because of my unending energy or enthusiasm, or the good feedback they got from clients. Things are changing, but not changing. I tell you what. I traveled to new countries, saw new faces, new challenges, new things, and I could do some shopping for my friends and my wife to make them also happy. And the money that came as a fee was also very good. But there was no difference I could see between pre-retirement and post-retirement. But the sheets on the calendar kept changing. But I had no time to think that I was getting older. The calendars also kept changing and the numbers of the years. But I was like the clock that stayed on the wall, though the handle of the clock was moving until the corona came to put a total lockdown on the entire world of activity. So I was forced to sit and think or meditate of any alternatives. My mind starts working only when it is blocked. It was there, but I did not see it. Yes, it was my house I'm talking about. I've been living in that house for 20 years, but never took a good look of it. So one day I sat in the chair in the portico, and I had time to think of it only now, though it all existed for 20 years. And there was a hot cup of coffee, which I was enjoying, which I used to drink all these years, all my life, but I never enjoyed it. I failed to do it. I sat not looking into the street where people were hurrying to their office, either walking or on their noisy motorcycles, on the children running to the school bus with their parents carrying their bags, not to mention even they do their homeworks and projects. I don't know who is going to school. And there was a morning rain for a few minutes to put a comma to all these actions. And then came the sun victoriously wiping teardrops from his eyes. Barriers not to see. Some are envious to see me relaxed while they scuttled on the slushy road. And the dogs running after a female, unashamed of the hour of situation. What if I sat looking at my neighbor's house, which was blocked from my vision by the lemon trees and the bushes and the creepers in my garden, and his? That was to preserve the privacy of us both. The rain and sunshine brought a cluster of fruits unasked for, and the new leaves I never saw before with the drops of rain on them. God continues to shower his blessings unasked for. I am not an artist, but how many shades of green and how small difference between each leaves, yet thousands of them. That's the way God wanted each of us to be distinct, or else it will be all like the school uniform, or like the math homework, no different, but the same monotony and burden. I should not mind others. And that is what I do when I sit meditating or thinking vainly on something unreachable. But where do the new leaves come from and the fruits? Of course, from the very air and rain and sunshine I use each day and minute unknowingly. But I don't bring forth anything useful either for me or others. So I keep asking, why nature does its work unfailing? They all do their work unfailing at the set time, though God gave his orders only once at creation, as the scripture says. God gave instructions to Adam also once, but he made new rules for God and blamed others for his inabilities. So also, man has never learned the art of thanksgiving, but blamed God when it was not raining or when it was too much. I see the dried leaves falling in hot summer, but flourishing after first rain. They know how to accept the reality of changes and still keep striving and be fruitful. Yes, the level is falling and the age is rising. I mean the cup of coffee. The level of the coffee in the cup was falling. But when did I drink it? I came to enjoy, but did I? It was like my clock that was running, though I did not see the time pass. And I never realized I was walking through the miles to 70, 80, and now 85. I could not see changes in my face, though I look into the mirror each morning. But those who see me after some time say so. I grow older continuously, though not fruitful like the tree in my garden. I was showing wrinkles. Is it because I think? Or I don't think about myself, but about things around me that disturbs my life or my mind. But the trees don't show the signs of old age. Is it because they don't think, like the street dogs, which are not bothered about anything around them? Jesus rightly said, look at the cross and learn a lesson. They don't worry if they would not get the food for the day, or worry if the coffee is cold. Nor the flowers worry that the pigment in the palette is empty. Yes, God cares. But who cares? Where do I have time to think of God when I feel even my computer is not able to keep the pace with me and it's running slower? I look at the trees again. I remember the Siddha doctor's visit to my house one day. He went round my little garden and said, wow, you have more than half the medicines in your garden and leaves, he remarked. The lemon fruit and the leaves of papaya, of guava, the mango, the neem, the tulsi, and even the juice from the banana tree stem, he said, are best antidote for snake bite. So also the flowers of jasmine, the banana, and the hibiscus, and even the young, small, untenable fruits falling from the coconut palm tree, they're all good medicines, he told me. So, there are many things freely around, but my mind is still fleeting. I said to myself, the right things in the wrong hands, like the politician, and all are freely given to me, but not realized. But someone cleverly bottles them up and gives me as a pill, and I pay a big price and a praise. It's our fleeting mind that runs after something not tangible or reachable, and an empty chase not realized. I look around. I lost my key, or I misplaced it. But hiding my inability, I blame everyone, and shouting and hurting. Maybe I'm getting back something stronger. And instead of chasing after the key, I chase after the people who hurt me, and then who did before, and then before, and before. So my anger within me piles. And instead of helping, I find there are always people who cause pain and make me think in the wrong direction. By now, My coffee is finished, but not my story. I look into my phone to see if there are any good friends or messages on WhatsApp. And there, the song of the devout man who sends a meditation each morning that lasts for 10 to 12 minutes. Too long. I used to say in the beginning, even if it is God, he must speak quick. Yes or no? Then I started listening to it. Sounds good music. And then a good thought, I said. So I started enjoying it and then sent to my grandchildren and children saying, try it. Try it as a prayer or meditation if you can. Make a prayer of your own. And some people like it and want it again, like a Starbucks coffee, though a big mug. So what do I want to say? Is addiction becomes a way of life? Be it filtered coffee or an instant coffee or Starbucks, though expensive, give it a try, I said. Some want it every day, and they say, yeah, it's a good thought. Someone painstakingly does and gives it a cup of thinking. And someone say, why should this man spend his time and energy and forward it to people? So now I don't miss it and start it as a prayer, like the coffee that is needed before I sit on the stool. And I forward it to 20 people, and some even want to reward that poor man, though not asked for. Now let me talk something about what you know. You know yoga and the morning exercise. Yes, we go to the school and stand before the teacher and pay money so I can do it at home myself. But everything needs a pulling string or a pushing rod like the last key or the shouts of my wife who cries, why sit on the chair for long? You've got to go to the shop. She asks me or orders with the rights. But look at my God. He gives all things free and not asking a word back again. So that makes me think of meditation. Is it self-restraint, as people say? Meditation, they say, gives you peace of mind. And for that, you must hold your body, mind, and soul in restraint. And bridle all fleeting thoughts and focus on nothingness. How can we think of something which is nothing? It's like asking the sheep, stand still and don't graze, or don't talk to a friend. I think of a man who did a lot of meditation and who wrote a lot of things about meditation. That's the shepherd boy, David, who became a king later. While he was grazing the sheep, he looked into the vastness of the skies at night and said, wow, how do the stars hang and from where? And the sun scanned the sky from east to west. And how big must be the God? And where does he sit and controls all these things? I am not able to control even 100 sheep. And not only that, God cares for the trees and plants and the grassy land to provide for my sheep and the predators not to forget. How great you must be, God, David said to himself. So his thoughts took a big circle like the sun and the stars, and it comes back to the awesomeness of the Creator. I try to imitate David. I try to see the stars by day or night. I want to be like the shepherd boy. But I don't see any stars by day, as there is sunlight, and I'm running all the time. I don't see them by night, as I feel my electric bulb is enough for me, and my roof blocks everything from sight. Or I don't venture to go out for fear of cold, or my fears of darkness and nothing. But then I don't get the peaceful night like David the shepherd boy, and I start reading some of his poems. I cannot really think, though I have a cozy bed, but the shepherd boy shivering in cold and cold night could compose a song, his own meditations. But I do not know how to. It's like how I do not know how to use the leaves of my own plants as herbs for simple medication. So I buy, like the bottle of pills concocted by someone. Am I a workaholic? Then what's the difference between alcohol and workahol? Are both the same? Alcohol makes you free and forget the world. And so is the workaholic. And where do I fit in? Do I really think of God and thank Him? Or think of nothing? No, I was thinking about the trees and the leaves He made, whichever it is. It has made me feel cool like the morning wind. Once I also scuttled like those I saw in the morning, but what use? We all go to the same end. Look at the trees, they don't move, yet they do something tangible. I wanted to shout to them. David was a busy shepherd who knew how to mix work and meditation like a good coffee that gives taste to me and aroma to others. King David was a shepherd boy to start with, keeping watch over the flock all the night and moving with them all the day to find the pasture land, to feed them and protect them, and also find a way of propagation. And on top of it, he could compose songs of praise and meditation. And what should I do? How can I meditate? I was all the appreciation for David until I came to some songs where he slanders his enemies, smiting in the cheek. My enemies, he shouts. And this he calls a prayer, and to be sung louder in the temple where worshippers come seeking peace of mind. If you ask David, he said, how can I have peace of mind when my heart is boiling? I asked him, how can God like that kind of thing? That is what people do in the royal court before the king, David would say. God is not only a provider and a protector like a shepherd. But remember, God is a king also who executes justice and judgment. So, vent all your emotions and be free in mind and heart, and let God take it from there. That's what he answers. And he continues. But some are hypocritic, speaking good words before God, but with anger and hatred bubbling within, and they call it prayer. Vent out. Vent all pent-up emotions. That is meditation, David says. I don't know how you like it. I remember the big child running to catch the school bus with a bag on her back, and the mother running behind shouting, "Leave your bag, it's heavy, I'll bring it." The mother is not strong either, but that is the mother. And that happens many days. Yeah. I remember Jesus told all those weary, poor people who were worried about heavy taxation by the Roman government, and they were unable to find a peaceful life and not even much freedom to cry unto God. Jesus said, "Come to me, all who are heavily laden and burdened, and cast them all on me. I'll give you peace." But he did not say, "I'll pay your taxes," but said, "I'll relieve you of all your worries." I start looking at the lemon tree again, still waving gently in the cool morning wind. And soon the hot sun will come upon it. And I will go inside my house. But the lemon tree, God is a king and a shepherd at the same time. Even when chased by son and father-in-law who hunted for his life, David composed songs. How could someone who lunged forward in fear and anguish compose a poem and address to God for help? And how could it be a meditation when our mind is full of fleeting thoughts and fleeing from enemy? And reading his songs called as Psalms, I find a great solace in my distress moments. The king is not comfortable either, he said, after sitting on the throne. He had to care for the people and solve their fights, though he had many within the family. Remember, no one is peaceful, but peaceful, though we envy at others. The sheep does not bother how much the other one eats or sleeps, nor the branches that get more light than the others who are in shade all the time. The tree in the watery lot is not proud than the one who gets no water. Where do I get my lesson? And what is meditation? Meditation is not looking at nothing, nor it is holding in restraint all fleeting mind or thought. It's looking at the beautiful creation of God and the Creator. The morning shower of rain has stopped, and the California sun has come up bright and warm. My coffee mug is now empty, like my life that is almost over. I enjoyed drinking it, and the aroma made free to others who pass by my side. Like the lemon tree which stands to speak of God's goodness and yet offer its fruit to all, the good people or the bad. I rise up from my chair, my heart full of peace and joy, for the few minutes I spent with my coffee and my God. And now I am ready to face the challenges of the day. Now, did you enjoy the cup of coffee with God with me?
Thank you, Dr. Paul.
Yeah, welcome.
It's very inspiring talk.
And also welcome to have a cup of coffee when you come back from USA.
So I think it was very inspiring, and for all of us I mean, to learn from your years of experience. I mean, I can see a lot of experience in that. And anyone has any questions, please feel free to unmute and speak, ask questions, or you could also type them in your chat box, and we would read them out for you. There is a question, Dr. Paul. In meditation, as it's not emptying as said in the Buddhist tradition, what do we focus on?
I don't know about Buddhism. Well, for me, unloading our things before God because we think God is our Father. I mean, it's to be good to be frank to Him, our fears, worries, anxieties, anger. That's what David tells us. Let us not be pretentious before God. If I'm angry, tell him. Instead of talking to people, say, Lord, I've been unjustly treated. I'm ill-treated. I'm not understood. So why not talk to God than to people? And then you have a consolation that you spoke to God and it's for Him to execute judgment or justice. Or if you keep quiet, I spoke to the eternal God. And this is the privilege we have, which the plants or animal kingdom don't have. We call God the Father, ask Him for our daily bread, as He taught us, and also told us to live in peace with others, forgiving others, and lead us daily. And of all He says, look at the crows. He cares for them. So that assurance makes me happy. And that is a meditation. Than to wallow in my own fears and worries and being angry with others.
There's another question. What is the role of the Word of God in this?
Role of Word of God? Yes, we have been talking about Jesus Christ. We've been talking about David's way of meditation. And of all, even non-Christians, if they read the Psalms, they feel it is speaking to the heart. There are Psalms for all occasions. Thanksgiving, crying, worrying, fleeting before his enemies. And that's why people always say, we read Psalms, but they don't know why they read Psalms. It fits into all kinds of situations and emotions in our life. That's why they were sung in the Jerusalem temple all the time. So weary passengers and worshippers coming up, they could find a solace even before they entered into the courts of the God. That's why we already said David brought an innovation in worship.
There's another question. Can you please talk more on meditating day and night?
Meditating more on day and night. There are many Psalms which David says, I've been meditating and sleepless all my nights on my bed. Yes, sometimes we got a lot of unfinished work and worry about doing it in the morning, or somebody hurt us the day and we cannot sleep. Well, that makes us sleepless. And when you wake up in the morning, you always say, oh, it's waste of time and waste of thinking, like that. Sometimes we say, the first thing in the morning I'll do is to go and slap on his cheek. But then in the morning comes, we never do that. So instead of that kind of wasteful thinking, King David said, I'll sing psalms on my bed. And maybe, as I said, if you don't get a sleep, get a book of Psalms and start reading on a sleepless night, or put on audio tape of Psalms, whatever it is. Try it. Try audio psalms on your sleepless nights, and it'll be very soothing. That's what I find. Because a man has all his life tried that.
I have a question, Dr. Paul. So meditating need not always be like quiet time and silence and nobody around you, because I find that sometimes very hard to do. Like, I don't know. So, would meditating, like, is it like synonymous to being quiet and sitting and you can't hear anything happening around you? Because I don't know, that never seems to happen.
I would recommend you go through the PowerPoint carefully. I was sitting on the portico. Around me. There's noise around me.
Yes, that's what.
Then I was looking at only the lemon tree and the leaves and the creation. They say when you're stressed, go and touch some creation, your pet, or some leaves and the plants and trees, and stand by it. You'll find a lot of solace. Believe me, any creation of God, just touch a tree, your stress will come down. Instead, people go hug their cell phones and WhatsApp, and where will they find? They're all equally stressed people. Nature, they say, God created is to bring down our stress, to focus our attention on Him. As I said, think of the lemon tree, whether it gets water or sunshine or no water, no complaints. And so, I don't think that you should have a restraint on yourself and compel yourself. That's a noisy street. I sit there. But when I think of the lemon tree, I have no time to think of the noise people outside. The one suppresses the other one.
There's one. What are the byproducts or outcomes of meditation?
Why do you meditate? Peace of mind. Peace of mind. And that's what Jesus said. I give you peace, which the world cannot give you. The world cannot give you. They will make you peaceful. 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 Go to pieces. But come to me, all that heavily burdened in mind, in heart, in worries, in anxieties. Offload it on me. So meditation, that few minutes give you peace of mind. And then you surge forward, ready for the oncoming stresses.
Dr. Paul, one more, like, usually people, you'll find them saying that, you should meditate in the mornings, early morning. But as you said, you sat in the noisiest place probably, and things occur to you. So, so that would not be very like right, saying that people say that, you should sit early morning and meditate. I think meditation can happen, as you said, anytime, anywhere.
Yes. As I said, that's a time when people are running to the office, and then why should I keep an alarm clock and wake up at 4 o'clock? That's a stress.
Yes.
Sometimes I get up at 7:30, sometimes at 6:45, sometimes at 6 o'clock. When I can make my coffee and sit, that's my time. Everything should be at ease, enjoyable, which of course I did not enjoy when I was young. But I used to have my prayer times. That was also meditation. But this is off-time meditation, rather on nature around me, things God created beautifully, not essentially prayer with a specific request and targets. No, it's a blank mind. Today I may see the dogs, tomorrow I may see some cows walking on the road. I'm in a village. Or noisy people quarreling. What does it matter? It's my time. and enjoy my coffee.
I think if there are no more questions, we will thank Dr. Paul for was really truly inspiring talk, and hope we can all learn and take tips for ourselves. So thank you once again, Dr. Paul. And as he said, anyone wishing for the PowerPoint, the slides, you could type in the WhatsApp group, and it would be shared with you. So thank you once again, Dr. Paul. Really, thanks a lot.
God bless you and keep meditating.
Sure, definitely.
Enjoy peace with God.
Yes.